Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cozy English. Grab a warm drink, get comfortable, and let's chat about something that affects millions of people around the world: higher education. Have you ever thought about going to university? Maybe you're a student right now, or perhaps you're a parent thinking about your children's future. One of the biggest questions that comes up is, how do we pay for it? This leads to an even bigger debate. Should university be free for everyone? It's a huge topic with a lot of different viewpoints. Some people believe it's a basic right, like primary school. Others worry about the cost and the impact it could have on the quality of education. Today, we're going to explore this fascinating question together. We'll look at the arguments for making university free, consider the potential downsides, and see how some countries are already putting this idea into practice. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about the biggest argument in favor of free university: equality of opportunity. Think about it. Right now, in many places, the ability to get a degree is closely linked to how much money your family has. A brilliant student from a low-income family might not even consider applying to a top university because the cost is simply too high. They might have the talent and the ambition, but they lack the financial resources. This creates a system where wealth, not ability, can determine your future. Proponents of free education argue that this is fundamentally unfair. They believe that everyone who is academically qualified should have the chance to attend university, regardless of their financial background. When education is free, it breaks down these financial barriers. It opens doors for talented individuals who would otherwise be left behind. This isn't just good for the students. It's good for society as a whole. We get more skilled doctors, engineers, artisans, scientists, which can lead to innovation and progress for everyone. It helps create a society based on merit, where your success depends on your hard work and talent, not the size of your bank account. Another major benefit is the potential boost to the economy. This might sound counterintuitive. You might be thinking, how can something that's free actually help the economy? Well, let's look at student debt. In countries like the United States, student loan debt is a massive crisis. Millions of graduates start their careers with tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. This heavy financial burden can have a ripple effect on the entire economy. When people are paying a huge portion of their income towards student loans, they have less money to spend on other things. They might delay buying a house, starting a family, or even opening a small business. They have less disposable income to buy goods and services, which slows down economic growth. Now, imagine a world without this debt. Graduates would have more money to spend and invest. They could become homeowners sooner, contributing to the housing market. They could be more entrepreneurial, taking risks to start new companies that create jobs. By freeing graduates from the chains of debt, we could unlock a huge amount of economic potential. A more educated population is also a more productive one, leading to a stronger and more competitive economy in the long run. But of course, it's not that simple. There are some very valid concerns and arguments against making university free. The most obvious question is, who pays for it? University education is incredibly expensive to run. You have to pay for professors, staff, buildings, libraries, labs, and all the resources that students need. If students aren't paying tuition fees, that money has to come from somewhere else. And in most cases, that somewhere else is the taxpayers. This means that everyone, including people who never went to university and may not directly benefit from it, would contribute to the cost through higher taxes. Some people argue that this is unfair. Why should a plumber or a small business owner have to pay for someone else to get a literature degree? They argue that a university degree primarily benefits the individual who earns it, through higher lifetime earnings and better job prospects. Therefore, that individual should be the one to invest in their own education, perhaps through a loan system that they pay back once they are earning a good salary. Another significant concern is the potential impact on the quality of education. If universities are funded entirely by the government, they might face budget cuts during tough economic times. This could lead to larger class sizes, fewer resources, and a lower quality of teaching. There's also the worry that universities might lose their autonomy and become more controlled by political agendas. Furthermore, some critics suggest that if university is free, it might be devalued. People might not take their studies as seriously if they haven't made a personal financial investment. Would we see higher dropout rates? Would a university degree become less prestigious or meaningful if everyone could get one? There's also the risk of overcrowding. If there are no tuition fees, demand for university places could skyrocket. This might mean that universities have to become much more selective, potentially turning away qualified students simply because there aren't enough spots. Or, alternatively, universities might accept too many students, leading to overwhelmed facilities and a decline in the quality of the student experience. These are all serious questions that need to be considered when we talk about implementing a free tuition system. So, how does this work in the real world? It's not just a theoretical debate. Many countries around the world already offer free or very low-cost university education. Let's look at a few examples. Germany is a great case study. In 2014, it abolished tuition fees for all students, including international ones, at its public universities. The system is funded by the state, and the general belief is that higher education is a public good that benefits all of society. Has it worked? Well, Germany has a strong economy and is known for its high-quality education and research. Many argue that this policy has been a success, making education accessible and contributing to the country's skilled workforce. However, German universities are also facing challenges with funding and overcrowding in popular subjects. Another model can be seen in the Nordic countries, like Denmark, Finland, and Sweden. Here, not only is university free, but students often receive generous government grants or stipends to help with living costs. The idea is that no one should have to work a part-time job just to survive while they are studying. They believe students should be able to focus completely on their education. Of course, this is supported by a high tax system. Citizens in these countries pay some of the highest taxes in the world, but in return, they receive a wide range of public services, including free healthcare and education. This model shows a different societal contract, where people are willing to contribute more in taxes for the collective good. So where does that leave us? As we've seen, the question of whether universities should be free is incredibly complex. There are powerful arguments on both sides. On one hand, making it free could promote equality, reduce the crushing burden of student debt, and stimulate the economy. It aligns with the idea that education is a fundamental human right that should be available to everyone based on merit, not money. On the other hand, we have to face the practical challenges. How do we pay for it without placing an unfair burden on taxpayers? How do we ensure that the quality of education doesn't suffer? And how do we manage demand to avoid overcrowding and a decline in the value of a degree? There is no single easy answer, and the best solution might be different for each country, depending on its economy, culture, and values. Perhaps the future lies in a hybrid model. Maybe we could have a system where tuition is tied to a graduate's future income, or targeted funding that makes university free for low and middle-income families, while those who can afford it contribute something. The debate is ongoing, and it's a conversation worth having. What do you think? Should university be free? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me for this chat today. I hope it gave you some interesting things to think about. If you enjoyed this video and want to continue exploring interesting topics with me, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to Cozy English. It really helps the channel grow. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care and goodbye for now.